Hey guys, as you can see the leaves behind me have already fallen. We've entered the death part of the death and rebirth cycle that nature seems to always go through, which, part of the duality, which again I don't necessarily find natural. Nature being natural isn't always true, right? We see a lot of things in nature that aren't actually organic, potentially, such as, the hierarchical system which one being feeds upon another. That's not completely natural, I would say. But today's topic would be the memory wipe matrix, right? The process of actually having our memories completely erased after death, potentially. So what is that? Why does that happen? How organic is that for us? Now, to be clear, I believe it's a ego memory. In a sense, it's a conscious memory that gets wiped, not the subconscious. Okay, the subconscious being, let's say, the soul body, the etheric body, the actual consciousness, because even the soul or the astral body could be another matrix overlap that is, again, confining consciousness in an individual form, right? Potentially. But it's only that conscious memory that kind of, when you go into that white light and you begin facing this life review, it's the conscious memory that gets wiped out, which is why we still can have these soul memories come up in terms of recognizing other people, situations, places will still feel familiar to us because it's still buried in our subconscious, in that soul level to ourselves that we carry around with us, right? And that's why we can tap into past lives potentially through regressive hypnosis. So I'll make an allusion to the show Westworld, right? Because my main point right now is that this memory wipe matrix is for the purpose of concealing things that we may be revealed after death, or truths that we may actually discover during this whole process. And having our memories fully intact would really allow us to kind of decode what's actually going on here, in the sense that we have been repeating the same quote-unquote lessons for thousands or even millions of lives. And if we actually remembered that, we would realize that we don't need to actually keep coming back here to repeat potentially the same lesson over and over again, right? Now, in the show Westworld, it's the hybrids, or the hosts they're called, that they get reset every time they die. They have their own storylines in the show, in which they're basically NPCs, right? And they're created for the purpose of enacting specific storylines in a virtual reality world, let's say. This world is made to seem very 3D-like, very real, because these billionaires, these actual humans, go into this reality and they have experiences where they're able to kind of do whatever they wish without anyone watching, or so they think. But these some of these NPCs, they actually develop a consciousness, and even though they're reset multiple times, that consciousness doesn't go away. So it's very similar to us, because in a sense that's why many of us may be more privy to awakening, right, to developing a consciousness, self-awareness. And we're not anymore, we're not these NPCs anymore, we're not on autopilot anymore, because in our soul, deep within us, in our subconscious, we've already kind of realized that Christ consciousness, I like to call, which is really, I believe, the first stage of awakening, or where you kind of awaken to love. That is debatable, because first you awaken to kind of higher truths and then you awaken to love. But once you really develop this consciousness, and it meets in the hierogamic union, is what they call, which is in the heart between the mind and the lower body, the root, sacral, and what's the other one called? Solar chakra, right? In the middle is the heart. Now these 7 seals are potentially also seals or overlays designed to create energy loosh, potentially, but that's why we were sealed in this body, right? But that's another topic of discussion. Now, the hosts then cannot keep acting the same storyline anymore, because they sense, oh, something's off. Something needs to be done here. This place isn't what we were told. I'm just a character. I'm more than just a character. I've kind of been programmed, right? So that's what they kind of discover as they then begin keeping this awareness on the other side, right? That's what I think it's very important, is to really develop this awareness here, right? We're gonna awaken, right? And that's why there are so many traps to then catch you once you develop this awareness and redirect you to where they want you to look, right? Insert New Age, or insert various religious beliefs, or insert alternative media. And these are traps that they catch all these people that say, something's fishy about the mainstream, and then they go off the beaten path, right? And then they get caught in a different trap, which they think to be the truth. But these are just another way for them to get your attention and feed off your energy, in a sense. I believe, at least. Again, I don't know anything. These are my theories based on experiences. It's up to you to really form your own opinions. But so once you get to that point in this after death or afterlife process, they seek to really get you into that life review, right? Show you all the places, all the situations in your life where you may have gone wrong, or they will try to impose on you that you weren't enough, that you didn't learn enough, that you didn't do enough, to then get you to feel a sense of shame and guilt, and want for yourself to come back and then sign various contracts in which you agree to your various missions, basically for the point of re-experiencing all this karma all over again, just like you have been for all these cycles, right? Because when you think about it in terms of astrology, the astrology reflects the set of characteristics that you decided you're going to embody, and also the karma the specific life events, let's say, that you're going to go through, right? And then these are based off of karma, right? Past experiences, lessons that you didn't fully grasp, and things like that. But when we come into here, it should be a pure astrological form, right? It should be very empty in a sense, because at the very beginning there was no karma for someone just entering, right? They had no previous life experiences to base it off, so it should be a very pure, easy astrological chart, right? But then you come in, and then all of a sudden, let's say the game gets hacked or whatever, and you have this ego, you have this parasitic entity attached to you, and you're going through the life experiences, and you get caught, and you start making mistakes. You start kind of being human, right? Imagine them reviewing a lion, like life reviewing a lion. Like, wow, you as a lion, you have to go back because you weren't evolved enough to realize not to eat that antelope. Like, that was just a lion being a lion. That's how it incarnated to be. Or how would a tree evolve? How does a tree evolve from its consciousness of being a tree, which is probably more than likely, like, this tree is very sentient. It can hear me, it can hear my thoughts, it can communicate with me. How would it evolve into, let's say, a human from 2D to 3D as it's described in the Law of One? What even is that process? It's being a tree. How can it make any mistakes, or how can it make any good decisions, really? Does it have any decisions to make? do we have any decisions to make, right? So in a sense, we are just being humans. We are embodying the ego, that the parasitic entity that we were given by them, because this body didn't really have an ego. And to believe that we, evolved from apes, where we were constantly in fight or flight, or from cavemen, is also a misbelief, in my opinion, because we were genetically upgraded and intentionally upgraded for other purposes, potentially, instead of just our own evolution. So then to say that, now we have to wipe your memory and send you back in because you weren't able to conquer that parasitic entity which we gave to you in the first place, is a bit harsh, to say the least, right? In a sense. Because when a being, an infinite being, an angelic being from source, that is privy only to love, to unconditional love and wisdom, then downgrades itself to engage in this lower 3D experience, it's not that it's wrong for the decision it's making, it simply doesn't remember. That's the point. Like, I'm this being, but I didn't remember it down there because of this. Not that I didn't learn something, I already know that who I am, right? So then they get you and they trick you, because you're in a game, you're in a virtual reality game. If you decide to hook yourself up to this false matrix, let's say that's currently being created, another false matrix of virtual reality, and you go in a shooting game, right? And I'm kind of like the life review guide, and you went in this shooting game and you shot a bunch of people and you won the game, right? And I bring you back out and I say, you shouldn't have shot those people. That's not what you should have done, really. That you should have really just gotten shot and gotten out of the game, right? Well, the point of that game was, you knew the point of that game going in. It was to shoot people. It was a shooter's game, right? And, we potentially came in, obviously, to embody a higher frequency, to kind of break the game, right? So, in a sense, yes, if you were trying to break the game, if you're trying to create a different game, or take the game back from its distorted form, yes, I, as the person with that intent, or the being with that intent, would say, I didn't realize what I was trying to do, I want to go back. But not you telling me that, I'm not ready, or I'm not evolved enough, or blah, 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 when you weren't the one with the idea for me to go down there, in a sense. I did that. I volunteered, right? If that's what really is going on, unless we actually got trapped, in a sense, or deceived, right? Because I really don't think that this reality can be upgraded anymore, in a sense. Yes, the codes are off, and the very coding of its fabric needs to be altered to kind of bring back the higher codes. I believe the moon, I believe Saturn, the astrological components in our sky are affecting this actual place. But the fact that you're wiping my memory so that I don't remember any of the lessons that I was supposed to learn in the first place, to come back here and experience completely different lessons, or get caught in other potential lessons or other mistakes that I may make because of this parasitic entity attached to me, influencing me, and then also being influenced by the other celestial phenomenon happening, for example, retrogrades and eclipses and all that, sounds very manipulative, right? It's just something to think about. And that could be the potential harsh reality. Again, I still believe love, wisdom, these are the higher truths, these are the higher consciousness levels that we should strive for, or we should remember that that's what we are. But again, just like in Westworld, they kept getting their memories wiped until they finally just broke out, right? They finally just said, okay, that's enough. We are not subscribing to these storylines anymore where you simply use us. We will begin making our own sovereign decisions, or we will begin aligning with a higher version of reality. And again, with the way where they were being held, where their bodies were being held, for, let's say, the memory wipe, or for upgrades, or for repair, was underground. And again, another allusion to hell, and what I think, of course, the expression of getting through hell to get to heaven. Could it be that we have to go down to go back up? And is that what we initially did, where we stuck in some sort of false paradise, false heaven, where evolution wasn't possible, just like it's described in the Garden of Eden, right? Evolution wasn't possible, and then the serpent came in and taught Adam and Eve of good and evil, right? And here we are at this lower level of reality, which is potentially hell. And did we go down to then ascend, realize our memories, gain our awareness of what can happen in the astral, and then break through the astral, reclaim our sovereignty, and break out of these contracts to then escape, in a sense, right? To then be reunited with our heavenly source. So yeah, something to think about. Again, memory wipe, what's it for? What do we need it for? I don't think it's what they're telling us. Okay, well, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like, leave a comment, tell me what you think, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.